green, amber, and red. Table topics, 1 minute. Green, 1:30, yellow, red at 2. And speech evaluations, green at 2. At 2:30 is the amber, and at 3 is the red. For the GE, later on, 3, 3:30, and 4. And each speaker will have a 30-second grace period. I will give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, I'm just going to mention there's usually 3 main role players that are responsible for leading the clapping and for their sections. One is the Toastmaster, one is the general evaluator, and one is our table topics master, who is Dennis. So there's a lot of clapping that's involved. Okay. I'm just going to mention for myself that I am sporting a very flashy thing that is basically about an injured wrist. So you've heard about the phrase, the sound of one hand clapping. That's going to be me tonight. So when I'm going like this, I'm clapping. Okay, so you guys can clap, but I'm not going to pound my other hand. Good enough? Okay. I don't want you to think I'm wimping out or wussing out by not clapping. I will be clapping vigorously. Okay. Good. Our next role player is our grammarian, and that would be Dan Craig.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. My role as a grammarian is first to give you a word of the day, and that word tonight is monkey wrench, which is an adjustable wrench. It's also come to mean something that interferes with the functioning of something else. The picture is showing this adjustable wrench into this machine so it grinds to a halt. That's a noun. There's also a verb form of it, which is usually hyphenated, which is to ruin something, sometimes deliberately. So for a sentence, if you wanted to use it as a noun, you'd say, he threw a monkey wrench into our plans by showing up late. As a verb, you could say, he monkey wrenched our plans because he was so late. For extra credit, you could use the bottom definition of the verb, which is to prevent development of wilderness areas through sabotage or vandalism. There was a book called The Monkey Wrench Gang about that sort of thing. So you get extra credit if you use that one. Thank you very much. Oh, the rest of my role is to listen for the way that we speak, to note particularly nice uses of language, or to see if there's anything that needs correction. And I'll give a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan, for that role. As a grammarian, I'm hoping that this wrist isn't going to throw a monkey wrench into my performance as Toastmaster. Now I'd like to hear from our counter, who will tell us a little bit about his role.
His counter, it gets to count how many ahs, like, you know, so, but, and, tongue click, Xerox, false start. I get to count all that and then make you feel bad after the meeting about how many of those you used. Thank you.
I like this. A little bit of this. Anyway, our next role player, we'll hear from him more towards the end of the meeting, or the second half at least. It will be our general evaluator, and that is our returning member, Jeff Shipley. And then we'll also have a joke from our joke master, Peter Lader. Thank you. All right. So now we're ready to move on to the rest of our meeting, and we're going to be introducing our main speakers for the evening. And to introduce each one of them will be an evaluator. And our first speaker is going to be, and our second speaker, okay, so we'll do second speaker first. First speaker second, or not. Sometimes plans happen. Is that all right with you? Okay, great. So our first speaker for the evening is going to be Hy-Vee Shatnawi, and his evaluator is going to be Will Burns.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tonight, Hy-Vee is giving his project number 4, How to Say It. As a reminder to all of you, words are powerful. They convey your message and influence the audience in ways perceptible and imperceptible. Word choice and arrangement need as much attention as organization and purpose. His objective is to select the right words and sentence structure to communicate his ideas clearly, accurately, and vividly. To use rhetorical devices to enhance and emphasize ideas, and to eliminate jargon and unnecessary words using correct grammar. His speech tonight will be from 5 to 7 minutes. I will make sure of that as timer and evaluator. But now a little bit about Hy-Vee. He is a software engineer at MUM who spends his spare time doing calligraphy. 1 year ago, he started reading about genealogy and developed a website for genealogy trees. The title of his speech, Integrity in Arabic Poetry. Please join me in warmly welcoming Hy-Vee Shatnawi.
How many of you care about or trust the integrity of the history of the past and present? We are writing the history of the future, for the future. Okay. You all trust the history. Mr. Toastmaster or Miss Toastmaster, Toastmaster Fellows, guest or still guest, yeah, and our viewer at homes. In the computer security, or the computer security is built on 3 principles: CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I'm going to talk about the integrity only. 1800 years or 1800 years ago, people of Arabia developed their language in a form can guarantee the integrity of their words, which was the poetry. The Arabic poetry has a different shape than other languages' poetry. And later on, Persian and Urdu and some of all Turkish language poetries built in the same structure, which called in Arabic arud, ilm al-arud or arud science, which is, this science is only talk or specialist in this kind of language, which is poetry. When they built this poetry structure, there was 2 main things. The first one was بحور الشعر. If we have, or if we want the exact translation, it's seas of poetries. But it's not a sea. But this word, they use it, and they needed from this word the form of the poetry. There is 16 shape or form of the poetry in Arabic language. If you start your poetry with one of these forms, you have to continue with this form until the last line. The Arabic poetry is divided into two parts. For each line of the poetry is two parts. Both parts must be balanced. And for that, they use 10 or 12, let's say, scales. You can use these scales to build your poetry. So when you write your poetry and someone comes and change any word of this poetry, it's like if he throw a monkey wrench in this poetry. Anyone listening knows Arabic. Once he listens to this poetry, he says, okay, line number 14 has a problem. I don't know what exactly the wrong, but it's wrong. It's like the music. These forms or these scales, I will give an example. One of these forms called the long sea or al-Bahr al-Tawil. To build your poetry, you have to use this rhythm. فعول مفاعيل فعول مفاعيل فعول مفاعيل فعول مفاعيل. For all your poetry, from the first line until maybe it's 500 lines, you have to follow these. فعول مفاعيل فعول مفاعيل. This is the first part of the first line. فعول مفاعيل فعول مفاعيل. The second part is equal. And for each form of these 16 forms, there is a template. This is the first part they used to make sure that nobody will change this poetry, because it's hard to find an exact word to be replaced. The second part, or the second mechanism they used, was counting the lines of the poetry. So the poet usually ends his poem with the number of lines. So when you read this poetry, you can know how many lines it should be. And usually they do not use clear numbers like 15 lines or no. They use, we call it حساب الجمل, which is there is a value for each letter in the Arabic language. So when you say the number of these, let's say number A or letter A is 5, letter B is 20, number C is 16, then when you say the numbers or the count of lines is B, C, F. So you can find the number. And to change this number, you have to have the same balance in the first mechanism, because it's not just a number, it's a word. My message today is, when you hear any news, when you read any history, make sure that it's 100% integrity in news. Not just the media tell us what's happening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Timer, could we please have 2 minutes to prepare our evaluations for Hudaifa? I know we all have our cell phones off. I'm just wondering if Miranda happened to text or email something as to her whereabouts. Otherwise, we're going to need to move on and head right into an evaluation. Or table topics, nothing.
I don't
Okay.
see an email that says.
Okay. So, let's see. So Will, I'm just thinking maybe since you were the only evaluator, you might like a little more time. We could do table topics and then have you evaluate.
That's okay, I'll go ahead here.
Okay. All right, well, let me just call up our general evaluator and let him do this. So please help me warmly welcome up Jeff Shipley.
All right, fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home, it's great to be here tonight. Thank you, Jean, for doing a wonderful job. So this is the evaluation section of the meeting. This is very important because this is where we get the constructive feedback, where we can really dig in, use the energy in the room to bounce ideas off each other, become better speakers, and grow as people. So I'm really excited to lead this section of the meeting. I guess first and foremost, we will call up the evaluator for our first speaker. You already met him briefly tonight. His name is Will Burns. Big round of applause for Will Burns. I made a mess with these sheets. It's a great example of what not to do and getting redundant with the agenda, so
Yeah.
apologies for that.
Our esteemed general evaluator, Jeff Shipley, likes to throw a monkey wrench into our meetings, but always with the intention of creating us a chance to grow even better. He's also an avid environmentalist who hates to see monkey wrenches used in such a context. That's my best attempt. But now, let's get back to the matter at hand, Hudaifa's speech. And what a speech it was. I felt like I was just dipping my toe into a vast sea of knowledge and information and content that was Arabic poetry. You helped us along the way. I found that you used a lot of really sort of simple, you didn't use a lot of jargon, you didn't use a lot of complicated words, you kept it pretty simple with the language. And you mentioned the organization of 4 forms, 2 parts, and the 10 to 12 scales. If I had a suggestion, it would be just because it's clear that you are an expert on this topic, to maybe make it even simpler for us, because I felt like, and kind of bring it down even a little bit more, in the sense that at the start I wasn't sure if this was about computer security or about Arabic poetry. I had the title, but then you were talking about the CIA, the confidential, integrity, and the availability, and how that related to computer security, and then got into Arabic poetry. Also, I thought you did a really good job of using an example. You explained we have one of the 4 forms, which I believe you called the long C, and that it had 2 parts, and you actually verbalized what those parts are. I didn't get a sense of what the scales were, so my suggestion is if you're either use an example of the scales or leave that part out, because that just confused me personally. If I had a suggestion, I would just say maybe just take us through a short, simple Arabic poem, step by step, so I can see it, how the organization applies throughout. I wasn't sure if there was 2 parts, if there was like the first part, and then there was like more part of the poem, and then the second sort of response, which was the same every line, and then the second part, kind of how this fit in together. But it was a fascinating topic. I was really interested to know more, and I would be thrilled if you wanted to do this, more about this in the future. Thank you so much for sharing this. Good day.
Will. Shall we move on to table topics? All right. Well, thank you for that very wonderful evaluation, Will. Appreciate it as always. We're going to move on to table topics, which is the opportunity to speak spontaneously and off the cuff. It's a great opportunity to get everyone involved in the meeting. So this is when the energy really picks up. So I would like to welcome, if he's ready, it's Dennis, right?
Yep.
Okay. Dennis Comez.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Dennis Comez, our table topics.
Thank you, Jeff. We have a series of table topics, and the subject, as you guys can guess, monkeys. Volunteers. Who wants to go up first? Peter. Thank you, sir. Peter,
Yes.
do you like monkeys? Would you get a monkey as a pet if you had all the time in the world to take care of it?
This is how long a speech? 1.5 minutes?
Yeah.
1 minute?
1 to 2.
1 to 2 minutes.
1 to 2
1
in
to
the
2,
30-second
2:30.
grace.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right.
The question is, would I, if I had the time, enjoy having a monkey? I have to say right from the beginning that the answer is, but I'll hold that thought just for a second. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, viewers at home, the answer is not really. And this isn't from any direct experience of mine, but the experience did run in the family. My mother had several sisters and a brother, and they had children. One of my cousins, my oldest cousin actually, John Ledyard, became the proud owner of a monkey when he was in his teenage years. He also was the owner of a small Fiat automobile, about so long, so wide, 2 seats topped, maybe a little bench in the back, but not very big, kind of tall in relation to its width. You'll see where I'm going with this, because what happened is that he took the monkey one day for a ride in the car with a friend. And I don't know if a policeman was involved, but he did end up traveling at a fairly high rate of speed and managed somehow to hit a curb and roll the Fiat, not in a serious way, but everybody came out fine, except the monkey was extremely disturbed, upset, and left evidences of that around in the Fiat. It didn't end well for the Fiat, it didn't end well for the monkey, and I think monkeys are just a little too temperamental for my taste. Thank you.
Who's up next? Susanna. Good to have you up. Thank you. Susanna, what is your favorite primate of all the monkeys and primates out there, and why?
Okay. Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guest, viewers at home, I assume that our table topics master meant my favorite non-human primate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
I think the one that interests me the most is the bonobo. And I have never really met very many primates personally. I haven't had much to do with them, except in movies and maybe as occasional zoo. But I have read some about them, and I've heard that the bonobo is actually a very, very social animal. And unlike chimpanzees and some of the other primates, they don't kill their offspring, they don't have wars and things like that. They're very social, they're very affectionate. They take good care of their children, and they use touch and grooming and actually sex to sort of knit society together, and they're very affectionate and very warm and cozy and all that kind of thing. And so they're not sort of the Darwinian idea of you know, survival of the fittest, kill or be killed. It's very, very cooperative society. And so I think that's an interesting model, and they're actually considered perhaps closer to humans than the chimpanzees. That's an alternative theory of the relationship between humans versus other primates. All right, thank you.
Who's next? I'll probably keep repeating that. Who's next? Who's next? Monkeys. Yeah, Beta. Monkeys are not. Nice. Getting ready. Ready for the wildlife adventure. Yeah, I like it. Okay. Yeah.
Plenty of room.
Yeah, that's good for the monkey talk. So on NPR, recently I've heard a study about a man has been sued by a monkey in Indonesia over a photo that he took. Yeah, it was on NPR. Do you think that monkeys have the right to sue like human beings? It's a deep question. Watch out.
Mr. Topic Masters, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and viewers at home. I've come up here with the extremely challenging Monkey Day. And my only experience with monkeys is like, hey, hey, we're the monkeys. Keep on going around. And I haven't heard this about the court system accepting the plaintiff as a monkey. However, I guess if a plaintiff could sign and communicate, I believe that if trees could make signs and communicate, or if people were caretakers or guardians of these animals, they should have a standing in the court. Now to move on. My father had an interesting experience as a child where he fell into a cage in a zoo with an ape. And recently there was a very horrific incident where they ended up killing the animal. But in this day and age, they have, I guess, they're quicker with guns. At that time, my father said that he looked in the ape's eyes and the ape was smiling, and so he felt at ease. It turns out that when they're smiling, it means they're enraged. But somehow he was retrieved. He was only maybe 2 or 3 years old, but he was retrieved. And to this day, he has a lot of hair on his back, and I think it influenced him physically. He seemed a little ape-like, but I descended from him, so I was the little chimp. Mr. Topic Master.
Indeed. Good to have you.
Okay. All right.
Monkeys are great climbers, as we all know, strong climbers. If you could climb a tree as strong as a monkey, what kind of tree would you climb if you had one to pick?
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Hello, fellow Toastmasters and guests and the world. What kind of tree would I climb if I could climb it as strong as if I was as big and strong as a monkey?
Yeah.
Well, I would probably find the biggest tree I could find, and I would climb to the top of it and build a tree house. And it would be complete with like a telescope and a really cool loft area and probably a hot tub. And I would make friends with the monkeys, and we would have a happy village up there where we live peacefully, and maybe some people too, some of my favorite ones, and we would all hang out together in the hot tub and, I don't know, eat a lot of bananas together. So I just find the biggest tree I could find, and all of that would happen. Thank you.
It's all good. It's all air shake. Jean.
Do you have enough questions?
Yeah. Oh, we have plenty of questions.
Okay.
Yeah, I just made up a bunch of them.
So everyone's going to do it, right?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah, we got lots of
Okay,
time.
good.
Thanks, Jean. Curious George is a popular children's book about a curious monkey named George. What makes you, Jean, the most curious in life? What drives you the most? What drives your curiosity?
Hello, Toastmasters, honored guests, viewers at home. I'll share a little bit with you right now what is driving my curiosity, and that is my fascination with podcasts and NPR One. I have learned from my niece to buy a little speaker that I can put in the shower, and I can do all my shower stuff, and I'm listening and I'm learning about the world on NPR. NPR, everyone knows what that is, National Public Radio. Well, this is a streaming service, and there's just a variety of different kinds of commentators and stories. In fact, switching over to podcasts, This American Life is one of my favorite podcasts, and that is the one that had the story about the monkey that was the plaintiff. It was fascinating. And I'm going to say, the defendant was this photographer who does all this wildlife photography, and he made a whole trip to find these particular kinds of monkeys, and it was really focused in, but he couldn't get them to do what he needed them to do. So he had the idea, I'm just going to set my camera up there, I'm going to get back away, and I'm going to let the monkeys come up and do their own thing and just play, and maybe they'll just kind of hit this little button thing and they'll take their own pictures. Well, that's what happened. There was a very famous monkey shot of the monkey, and this photographer sold it. The picture went all around the world and everything. But then an animal rights group said, wait a minute, you don't own that picture because the monkey created the picture. It's the monkey's picture. So you have taken the monkey, and it just went into an incredible story. So This American Life, you can look up that episode, but podcasts and NPR really are keeping my mind quite lively these days. Thank you. You got that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all tied in well.
Yeah.
More monkey questions. Monkey questions. Who wants the next one? Going twice.
Dan.
Dan. That's good. Thank you, Dan.
Dennis?
Monkey see, monkey do is a common phrase we all know. What skills in life do you think are best learned through direct observation? Good job.
Mr. Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, our guests, viewers at home. My first reaction to that question is that almost anything that involves movement is learned easiest by observing a master or having a teacher demonstrate and then you follow. It's the monkey see, monkey do. If you wanted to learn to play piano, you probably would have a tough time just sitting down at a piano with a book if you'd never seen somebody play a piano before. But if you have a teacher that says, here, it's going to work like this, and then you try it. Anything, throwing a baseball, playing guitar, just about anything you could name, I think, is learned best by imitation. And it's kind of interesting the way our society is transitioning away from labor, work as movement of the body or production from the use of muscles. We're more and more becoming the service economy using our brains. But in the society not so long ago, the apprenticeship program was critical. If you wanted to be a plumber, you studied with a master plumber. Almost anything you could name in society worked that way. And I think there's something lost, actually. I think it's kind of a beautiful relationship. It's kind of a master-disciple relationship almost, to see someone with a great skill pass that on thoroughly to a willing student. Thank you.
There are still more primates in this room who have not responded to table topics question yet. Who wants to be the next one? Will Burns. Thank you, Will.
Thank you.
Our word of the day is monkey wrench.
Okay.
What has been the biggest monkey wrench thrown into your life within the last 10 years?
Fellow Toastmasters, honored and distinguished guests, and viewers at home. This is a remarkably challenging question to answer for me, because I want to do justice to this question. And when I think about it, honestly, every obstacle that I've faced in the past 10 years has been of my own making, or in some ways it's been of my own sort of challenge. I created the challenge there, or I failed to overcome it. For the first part of those 10 years, I was still young, arrogant. I still am. I'm just less so now. I've hopefully improved a slight bit. But I still had that childish idea that the world would beat a path to my door, and I just had to sit there, keep the door unlocked, and just receive whatever bounties of the universe would provide. That didn't work out so well for me. And over time, I've come to realize that really I'm most happy when I'm on some path, when I'm basically out there in the hard scrabble life, trying to make something, trying to do something. And while that's challenging at times, it's rewarding. And that really I'm not even looking for a particular outcome. I want to wake up in the morning, I want to do a good job at my work, I want to go home, be a good husband, I want to be a good Toastmaster, be a good friend. The experience of improvement is just a part of that process. And I kind of enjoy the improvement, but I don't really look for a big end game necessarily. But I've certainly thrown a monkey wrench in my own plans, my own aspirations in the past. And hopefully I'll do that a little bit less now. Just a little bit. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thanks, Will. You answered the most challenging question in the pile. Let's see. We still got some more time, I believe. So who's up next? The monkey questions. We still got some more. Yeah. Yeah, may have to do one myself later.
Yes.
Go around. Yeah, we want
Do we have?
Fraser,
You can do this. Thank you, Fraser. Have you seen a scary movie about monkeys? And is there any particular monkey that scares you? If you have not, why or why not?
I'll say straight off the bat, I haven't seen any scary movies per se about monkeys. But, Mr. Topics Masters, fellow members, guests here at home, I've seen some scary videos of monkeys or other primates threatening people. And also I heard of pretty ingenious monkeys. I mean, actually finding out where the key is for a cage and opening it and going through again. I heard that on NPR also, right? So scary incidents like also of like kids getting too close in a zoo, and other things I can't really call to mind. But and I don't think I would like to look at a whole movie of, just scary monkeys. So, Mr. Topic Master, yeah, that's all I have for this evening.
I think we may have, there are a couple of primates left who have not answered a table topics question yet. Who would like to go?
You.
Yeah.
Ask
Give
yourself.
myself a question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ask yourself.
It's a bit unfair.
Oh, okay, okay.
I have a lot of time to think about it. I've had the whole time.
Okay.
You want to go again?
No, no, I want to give you a question.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
You want him to have a question?
You can choose from here. You can choose on yourself.
I'm not gonna-
You can choose on yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna choose for yourself. Okay.
Oh, yeah. My pen is right there.
Dennis, you seem to have a real affection for monkeys.
They really have a place in my heart.
So with this obvious extensive affection for monkeys, if you could be a monkey, which monkey would you be? Tell us about it. Why that particular monkey and why not a particular other monkey? So which monkey would you be?
Okay. Thank you. Does it include primates? Non-human primates?
No, I
Just
think
monkeys.
you're into the monkeys.
Just monkeys. Okay, okay. I got
Monkeys, right? Monkeys?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
monkeys, not human, monkeys.
you. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know the difference.
Thank you, Jean. It's a great question. What monkey would I be? I think I would, from my experience, the monkeys that I've seen in my life are some of the monkeys in the rainforests of Brazil. I would like to be, I don't know their exact formal Latin name. I just know in Portuguese what they call them. But they're these really cool macacos, they call them in Brazil. And they're just hanging out in the trees. And I would like to be the ones that hang around in Rio de Janeiro and they look at the tourists that are sitting there eating their lunch and smiling at the cute monkeys. But little do they know, someone or something is about to throw a huge monkey wrench into their day because all of a sudden 20 monkeys will be glaring from the trees, 20 of them, 40 of them, intimidating this poor tourist, this poor innocent tourist who's eating a banana. And before you know it, that tourist is so scared, the banana is dropped and the monkeys devour it. So if I could be a monkey, I would be one of those monkeys who would be hanging out in the trees, being a scout, and enjoying the good lunch of every tourist who stops by in Brazil. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's a good question. Is there anybody else left? Let's see. Oh, we have time for one more. If I'm sticking to agenda right. Yeah. 49.
Jeff, answer one?
Yeah.
You could, but really,
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to answer?
you want me to?
Well, this isn't being uncomfortable and like dealing with it.
Oh, great.
Yeah, man. We all have to deal with it, man. It's monkeys, man. Some have observed in the wild, from my understanding, that monkeys or some non-human primates fling their dung at each other. Do you think that us, as human beings, would be better off replacing all of our wars with flinging our dung?
Which dung?
Dung. Feces.
Okay, I just want to make
All sorts of other things.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
So, can you read the question one more time?
In nature, it's been observed that some non-human primates and monkeys fling their dung at each other, or feces, or poop, whatever you want to call it. Do you think that human beings would be better off replacing war with such a mechanism for solving our violent problems that we're so passionate about?
Fellow Toastmasters, what a very disturbing question. Thanks, Mr. Tipp. Would humans be better off if we flinged feces at each other rather than dropping bombs from 30,000 feet? I would say no, because at the moment that you are afflicted with a feces, you'd rather be dead anyway. And I mean, if we're going to be destroying society, you know, why not just do it right the first time and just put us all out of our misery, right? I could take this down a very dark path, and I'm tempted to do so. But no, I think humanity does have, I mean, we're in search of a soul, right? I mean, 'cause that's what Carl Jung posited after World War I, after the destruction, after, you know, industrial societies were completely laid to waste. Well, do humans even have a soul that they're capable of inflicting such wanton violence against each other? And I think we're still kind of answering that. And thankfully today we fight a lot of our wars on social media, where you throw the proverbial poo at each other on a keyboard without any actual violence. You just try to disparage your opponent and ridicule them and mock them, which I guess is better than killing them, but, you know, I don't know. It's a very interesting question, but no, I think we're better off with violence than that. Although, it's tough. I mean, are the monkeys really that better off anyway? I don't know. It's been a while. You know, if they were so smart, why aren't they running society, right? If they're so superior. I do like King Kong, though. I like the way that he was trying to destroy the city and inflict harm on humans. I'm sure they had it coming. Yeah. I mean, plumbing is really such a great... I heard it say that plumbers, through basic sanitation, have actually saved more lives than doctors when you look at it from a macro level. Seriously, so I think this is actually something that humans have evolved on, and I think if we were to signify what does separate man from the beast, from the savages in the wild, I think it is our proper disposal of waste and sanitation. So thank you for the question. It's very disgusting. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Good answer. Has everybody been disturbed enough with monkeys? Anybody left to victimize? Actually, Hudaifa. You can be the last victim.
Yeah, I know.
I'll ask you another disturbing question.
Okay.
Hudaifa, thank you for being our last volunteer. Last victim.
Simple.
Let's see. Hudaifa, if you were on a wild adventure, which monkey would you like to see in the wild? And in which part of the world, which country would it be in?
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Fellow Toastmasters, our guests, and viewers at home. I don't know exactly where monkeys live, in which countries, in which places, but I know there is in Africa, there is in Arabia, there is in some places in Yemen or South Arabia. Yeah. This is the only monkeys in Middle East. But if I want to meet a monkey in the wild, I would like to meet with a small, not that disturbed monkey, but at least some monkeys that can help getting food in the wild if you cannot climb and get food. Not monkeys that will steal your food or eat your food. But I don't think monkeys will be the big problem in the wild, especially if it's in Africa. There will be many selfish animals that you will hope that you are a monkey at that time, so you can climb and get away from them. Thank you.
Everybody's been victimized, I think, for the evening.
Yes.
With questions about monkeys and non-human primates. At this point in the meeting, it is time for our timer, Mr. Will Burns, to answer the question, which table topic speakers have qualified? let's keep it simple. Everybody in the room. Vote for who's the best in the room. Everybody voted? Good to go. Give a warm welcome, Fraser Jones, evaluator. Let's take him top here.
Peter, yeah, would you get a monkey as a pet? I was rather surprised. He actually had someone in his family that had a monkey as a pet, and he was extremely suspenseful in the beginning, and that was nice. And he had great gestures. And the only suggestion I would have for you is you stayed one place and delivered. You could have moved to, and especially you switch now, you had some different scenarios in your talk. You could have moved and delivered them at different spots on the stage. Right. Susanna, what is your favorite primate and why? Yeah, I like that situation where you ask for the clarification, right? But there's non-human. And you're very knowledgeable about the one you chose, the bonobo, and had good gestures. And yeah, again, the only suggestion I would have is movement on the stage. Oh, Veda. Yeah, yeah. NPR recently sued. There was a story on NPR recently about a monkey being sued over a photo. That was a nice segue. Yeah, it was a nice segue, and the only thing I advise is movement on this stage. Again, Mindy, monkey are great climbers. What kind of tree would it be? Wow, pretty imaginative. A hot tub on the biggest tree, enjoying the view and relaxing. That was pretty interesting. And I liked how you concluded by again referring to your initial start. That is the biggest tree you would climb. Dennis. Wait, I didn't start it. Oh, Dennis, if you could be a monkey, what monkey could it be? Stealing food from people. Interested. And you were pretty passionate and had gestures. You had great enthusiasm. And I would say, yeah, the movement, I would go back to that. Or again, that's what I would suggest. Jean. What drives your curiosity? She had great use of the stage. She was here, then she moved here, delivered it there. Extremely good use of the stage. And also at the end she referred to, she had a good wrap up, referring to her introduction, what she started with. being that podcast on NPR. And, okay. I didn't have any suggestion for you. Yeah, and Dan. Monkey see, monkey do. What skills in life are best learned through direct observation? You could use the stage a little more. That's the suggestion I have for you. And yeah, and as you say, anything that involves gestures and you just kept it short. Good. Will Burns, what has been the biggest monkey wrench thrown into your life? As all the other, most of the other participants, all of you all took your 30 seconds to think. I forgot to point that out to you all. You think about the question, and you did a very good segue, since nothing was thrown at you, but you created it yourself. And you, again, at the end, you had this good conclusion referring back to that, well, you didn't have anything thrown at you, but you created yourself. And you were you went into a little detail about the different qualities about being arrogant and all that. It was, okay, that was Will. Okay, and Jeff Shipley, right? Replacing was by flinging down at each other. Yeah, you're pretty passionate about that. Also, and saying, well, plumbing was big. I didn't have any suggestion about the movement, again. Okay, and moving on to Hudaifa, Wild Adventure, which monkey you would like to see? And wow, yeah, this was pretty imaginative. Bring a monkey that would bring food for you, right? Collect food, bring for you. I like that. And as you say, and he had a nice segue saying, in the wild, the monkey might not be the problem, is other animals. And then you might like to be a monkey and get up in the trees. I like this. Oh, so.
Great job.
Thank you very much, Fraser. All right, Will, can you tell us which evaluators qualified?
Both evaluators qualified.
Okay, fantastic. So that would be Will and Fraser. Fraser, right?
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead and vote on who your favorite evaluator was. Dan Craig, are you ready to give the grammarian's report?
I am.
All right. Please welcome to the stage Mr. Dan Craig.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. First order of business, the users of monkey wrench. I may have missed some of you, but I heard Jean, Hudaifa, Will a couple of times, Dennis 3 times, Fraser once. Anybody else? Okay. The usage of language that I heard, I enjoyed in Will's introduction. He used the phrase in ways perceptible and imperceptible. Peter said in his table topic, it didn't end well for the Fiat, it didn't end well for the monkey. I liked when Mindy said, we'll all hang out together in the hot tub and eat a lot of bananas. Will in his topic said, I was still young and arrogant and waiting for the world to beat a path to my door. Jean, in her question to Dennis, I guess it was, said, you seem to have a real affinity for monkeys. And Jeff, I'll have to paraphrase at the end of your topic, you said, what separates humans from monkeys is our method for disposal of waste. I think I'll watch the video and get that exact quote. I really want to have that down.
Thank you, Dan. All right, what a blessing it is to have such a talented grammarian. We really appreciate your report, Dan, especially when you complimented me. All right, Dennis was taking over as the odd counter. Are you prepared for your report, Dennis?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's hear it.
Udaifa had 1 so and 2 ands that I counted. Jean and Will, you guys are both clean, or I failed to pay attention enough to catch you. Jeff, I counted 1 1 you know. Peter, you were clean from my understanding. Susanna, I counted 1 you know. Veda, I counted 1 Mindy, 1 Dan, you were clean. Fraser, I counted 1 so. And myself, I was clean because I didn't count myself. That's all my report is.
Thank you, Dennis. Peter, are you prepared to give us a joke? A big round of applause for Peter.
I have a minute, so you'll get more than one joke. And inevitably, the joke is going to be about monkeys, or the jokes, I should say, will be about monkeys. So, how did the monkey go down the stairs?
I don't know.
He took the bananister. Why did the monkey like the banana? He found it appealing. What do you call a baby monkey? A chimp off the old block. Ooh, we need a ba-ding kind of a thing like that. What do you call an angry monkey? Furious George. And last but not least in the monkeys, oh yes, where do monkeys go to drink? The monkey bars. And on that, and now
Thank you, Peter. What a wonderful delight to have you share those jokes. Always a challenge and a real pleasure to hear someone make us laugh and to bring humor into the meeting. Point of clarification, Mike, just evaluating the evaluators, or I offer commentary on the whole meeting?
It's pretty much we do the evaluating the evaluators just because that gives them.
Okay, it's been a while since I've been here.
Yeah.
All right.
You can do whatever is you're comfortable since it's your first time back.
So again, I think it was first thing I want to say is just may God have mercy on all of us for what's transpired here this evening. And one thing I was thinking about, overall talk of monkeys, is that as far as I know, human beings are the only primates that gather in grocery stores to practice public speaking. So it really is great that we all are here together. The first evaluator we had the pleasure of hearing from this evening was Mr. Will Burns. And you know, he's an arrogant son of a gun, but I like this guy. I like him a lot. I like his haircut. And you know, he's a real talented speaker. He's been around for a while. You might be asking, what even qualifies me to evaluate someone like Will? I ask that question all the time to myself, and then I remember that at a previous evaluation competition, I actually bested Will. And got to remind myself to inflate my own self-esteem when I'm up here. But Will's great. He's a real blessing to the club. He helps speakers and all of us alike. And I like a lot of things about this guy. One is his fun introductions. He gets up here, he has good energy, and he brings a seriousness to his tone. Like, you know, he conveys the gravity of the speaking project by describing it. And it would kind of come off maybe a little weird, except you know he's sincere. So it's like the sincerity drives home his evaluation. And that's clear right from the introduction. Then he carries it on as he's describing the speech. And he did a really great job in pointing out particular points and offering the speaker praise, which again is really the point. We want to build up our speakers, make them feel really great about being here, and point out things that they're doing well. And then opposite of that is offering clear, concise suggestions on where the speaker could improve. And from where I was sitting, I thought he did do a good job, even at one point mentioning that he was confused at one point during the speech, which is really very important for the speaker. It might not be what the speaker wants to hear, but it's really important to get that feedback so you can improve. And I thought Will, in general, did a really good job with that. And yeah, so he brought his experience to the speaker. And you know, he mentioned those points and did a really good job, I thought, of an all-around positive, uplifting evaluation that's both constructive and supportive. It's a great job, Will. The other evaluator was Fraser, who again did a very good job. And in this type of scenario, even just being able to recall what all the different speakers talked about, what the subjects were, is impressive in and of itself. So just your attention to detail and taking it seriously goes a long way in the presentation. And again, I thought you did a really good job of addressing each speaker, everyone in the room essentially. A couple points that I think you might want to consider that might benefit you. One, from looking at you from my perspective, you have a really nice smile, right? You have a very, when your face lights up, it's very engaging, it draws the audience in, it can connect. I mean, that's the power of the nonverbal facial cues. So I would just maybe ponder ways to be more conscious or deliberate of that, because that could be like your secret weapon as your speaking progresses, is really using your facial expressions to drive home a point or bring the audience in. I think you have a lot of potential for that. And not everyone does. Not everyone has a nice face to look at. Thankfully, you do. The other point is you were a little bit, you know, juggling on your feet. Yeah, and you know it, right? So just the only suggestion is to convey the confidence. Keep your feet planted, convey your points, and if you're getting a little bit too strong, cool it down with a smile. You know, because having your feet planted does help in driving your points home. Otherwise, it is a little distracting. But I mean, given the task that you had, certainly I thought you did a great job. So keep up the great work, and hope those suggestions are helpful, or if they're not, whatever. I don't know, people. All right, that's pretty much our meeting then, right? Right. Okay, so that's my evaluation. Thank you all. Yeah, big round of applause for me. God, what a wonderful, positive learning environment that we're here. And so just taking a big, deep breath to acknowledge how lucky we are to share this time together. And then a big round of applause for Jean Symington Craig to close out our meeting and present our meeting awards.
Very good. So nice to have Jeff in the midst. Okay. Alrighty, so we really had a lot of exercise tonight. Yes, so now we need to pound the thighs. And our best table topics before he gets too settled in his seat, Jeff Tipley, sanitation commentator.
There's no ribbon.
We don't have a ribbon. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay.
I'm getting a ribbon.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Gene.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I like them.
All right. It's like sometimes I try to hand the little chit thing, and that doesn't work.
You keep it. I don't
That
want
is
that.
not what. No, does not hold the candle. All right. Yeah, it's as opposed to hanging Chad. Don't get me there. Okay. So here we go. Another thigh pounding. Our best evaluator is Fraser. Right. Okay. Well, that is it, and looks like we're just about on time. I'm going to go ahead and call up our president, who will actually close out our meeting. It's been really good, everyone. Be sure to mention Toastmasters. Yes, Dan?
Did the Hy-Vee be best speaker?
No.
He didn't qualify
But
time-wise.
you came closer than anybody else.
No, this is not the price of right. You know, it's like not that you, yeah. So if you go over on Price is Right, yeah, it's true. You are like 1 penny over. Okay. So Hudaifa, we really enjoyed your speech, but we can't give you a ribbon. So better luck next time. Okay. So here we go. Let's have our president come up and close us out. Bennett. Oh. Is this the one you were doing? Okay. Speech 4. Is that right?
Yes.
4. All right.
Thank you, everybody, for your input throughout the meeting. First of all, this thing needs to be filled out for all of you who are role players. And Mindy, what are your thoughts on the meeting? How do you think things went?
I thought the meeting was highly entertaining and really helped me. I've never really thought about whether I'd choose violence over flinging dung at people, but I'm now contemplating that, and it was very persuasive. That makes total sense. And go Plumbers.
Yeah, Plumbers. I like that. We just made the theme of the meeting. It's just like we gotta honor our plumbers now. I like we've got everything going on a positive spin. I like it. It's good. Yeah, so thank you for your patience with all that. I was making up a lot of table topics on the fly there. So
Yeah.
it was a fun time. I like all your responses to that. And very well done, Fraser, for keeping track of all those for evaluation. Well done. Is there any business to attend to? Or do you all want to go home, get groceries, and sleep a little bit? Nothing else, Jean? Okay, that's all.